I will never forget the scene in the film Fiddler on the Roof, where a Russian Jew, very attached to his ancestral religious traditions, is struggling with a very painful dilemma. His daughter was pleading for her dad's permission to marry a non Jewish young man. In one moving scene, the father is seen struggling between two options. Shall he say yes and allow his daughter to pursue her happiness with the young man she loves? Or shall he say no and oblige her to marry a man from their own tradition? He asks himself, shall I say yes? Shall I say no? I must bend, but if I bend too far, I shall break. Life is all about choices because we humans are blessed with a very heavy gift freedom. All other creatures are moved by instinct or nature. It decides for them. A cat will always hunt mice, but we humans, we can choose to say yes or no to anything. In the first of today's readings, we read, He has set before you fire and water. To whichever you choose, stretch forth your hand. Before man are life and death, good and evil. Whichever he chooses shall be given to him. Living is choosing. Wisdom is making the right choice, which means dying for something of less value for the sake of something of greater value. According to Fiddler on the Roof, every good choice is bending, and every bad choice is breaking. We all know the price we have to pay for our bad choices in life. If not, go and ask drug addicts, compulsive gamblers, broken families, prostitutes. There are two kinds of choices. The first is choosing between good and bad. The second is choosing between good and better. The first kind is essential to life. This is why we need laws. They help us stick to the essentials. The second kind leads to the fullness of life. This is why we are invited to go beyond the essentials if we want to experience a glorious, a magnificent life. In the Gospel, Jesus takes us to the second level of choices. He invites us to a glorious life, not just to a good life. Like any lover, Jesus wants nothing better than the best for us. I tell you, unless your righteousness surpasses that of the scribes and the Pharisees who stuck to the law, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven, of gloriousness, of excellence. In other terms, unless you let go of the minimum, you will never experience the maximum. We think that we can cheat on life by hiding behind words, regulations, traditions. How many crooks, criminals, in spite of the obvious and well-proven guilt, escape justice because of a procedural mistake or a missing word? How many times have we used or abused of our so-called rights to avoid our duties? The law says, you shall not kill, and whoever kills will be liable to judgment. But Jesus says, whoever is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. How often we kill other people's happiness, their self-esteem, their peace, whole lives with our cruel, judgmental words and actions. How many innocent children are abused and destroyed by so-called grown-ups? How many families have been destroyed by unfaithfulness? The law says, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But Jesus says, everyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart." How many beautiful relationships and friendships, families destroyed by unfaithfulness, not just by watching porn or indulging in sexual fantasies, but simply by lack of communication, openness, sincerity, presence, because of careers or work or money, neglecting children, parking them for long hours in daycares for the sake of money, status, or pure self-indulgence. The law says, "Do not take a false oath, but make good to the Lord that you vow." The law says, "Do not take a false oath, but make good to the Lord all that you vow." Jesus says, "Let your yes mean yes, and your no mean no. Anything more is from the evil one." Truth is not just a matter for the law courts to prove or disprove. It is the lifeblood of day-to-day living. How hard it can be to mean what we say and to say what we mean. This is not a question of being perfect. We all do mistakes. We do fail to live up to our promises, betray the ones we love. What Jesus is saying is that we have to be transparent enough, which means humble enough to openly acknowledge our failures, our mistakes, our betrayals. My yes means yes, not just when I keep my word all the time and in all ways. My yes means yes when I am open, sincere, humble, and courageous enough to admit the times when my yes meant no, and when my no became yes. My yes means yes, not just when I keep my word all the time and in all ways. My yes means yes when I am open, sincere, humble, and courageous enough to admit the times when my yes meant no, and when my no became yes out of my fragility, weakness, poverty. The best does not mean being perfect. The best means giving all I have at all times. When I am strong, I give my strength. When I am weak, I give my weakness. When I have much, I will give it all. When I have little, I still will give it all. This is the best in the eyes of God. It is surely not reaching sky-high targets, but faithfully and humbly making all I have and all I can give the target. Jesus is not asking us to be and give the best. He is simply asking us to be and to give our best. Lord, raise me up to always choose to be and to give the best that I can be.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than restless heart beats so imperfectly, but when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I glimpse eternity. Stand on mountains to walk on stormy seas, the stormy sea, and I am to run when I am on your shoulder. Oh, you raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more